What is this? Who knew? What is this? Who knew? This I watched and wow, just bash, 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 bash. Oh, look at, of course. Who knew that Latin is, and he says it's a dead language, but it's used in law, courts, and all this stuff, and in religion, meaning Rome. Because Rome is truly a king on the earth. All the souls that are born to the earth, the Vatican has written authority over. Wow, who knew? Oh no, but no, we're all just free. Smashed. Because you believe you're free? Wow, smashed. Yeah, you have all these numbers and plastic cards and IDs and things and this and that and documents of proof that who you are. Smashed. And all this because of the worshippers of the light. Yes, who knew? Who knew that they had a way to just defile through the spoken word? Wow, who knew? Who knew? What does it mean? What does it say? And over here he talks about, I mean, go ahead and watch it, but he talks about the Greeks and this and that and this and that and how they're cousins and this and that and this and this and that. But what is language if not an incantation? The written. The written, because the incantation truly is the incantation of life or the incantation of whatever you want, which is death. It all surmises to death. Outside of the enamored glorifying and chanting with life, there's only death. Outside of that, meaning, wow, that which was a thought that never was. But oh, you see it as death. Oh, death. What is death? Exactly, you don't know. All you know is life. Life is relentlessly showing you what life is. Relentlessly giving forth life. Wow, who knew? But you have come to see some sort of no. Once you're dead, it's over. You don't know. It's it. That's it. That's all. Wow, because you believe the promise of the ways of the world. That's why. You have rejected the true promise of life everlasting, meaning wow, life you you had life, you had the perception of life in the flesh, and then all of a sudden because you see other people just void of animation and oh they're dead. Okay, the flesh is bashed. The flesh gets bashed, but wow, the life is and what witnesses and who knew that eternity was real? And that would strays away from the life. Who knew that's what eternity consumes them? So all this was bash about saying, oh, this, certain words of this, and then saying, wow, there's actual, extinct languages like, uh, this one or whatever, uh, whatever their bash name is. But he's saying, but only scholars know what they're talking about. Nobody knows how to read it. Only scholars. Wow. So he was saying, wow, there's languages that are extinct, but only scholars know what they mean. Wow. What are they saying? Just like Sakurai Sitchin stitching all the words and stories of what the supposed tablets mean found in Sumer. Wow. And of course, all planting the seed of what? You guessed it. What's to come? Meaning the proverbial massagement of just defilement, the false promise, because it will relentlessly come to, promise you more. It's like this false bash, oh, new Sphinx documentary. Whoa, so mysterious. Whoa. And then wow, just, I can only watch 10 minutes and 49 seconds of this bash. And, oh, the only, you can read all this bash, but the real thing is this. Some claim it is 12,000 years old. Recently, two scientists even suggested that the Great Sphinx of Egypt is around 800,000 years old. Who knew? Right? And it's relentless fantasy, relentless stretching of and of your flesh and of your soul, severing the lifeline to the Father, just negating it, just totally smashing it away and saying, yes, let's follow this. Or no, or say, no, clearly it's 6,000 years old. Come on. The Egyptologists say so. So that's, and the archaeologists say it's 6,000 years old, so it must be, yes, no, they would not lie. But so, okay, no one has been able to date the Sphinx precisely. Some claim it is 12,000 years old. Okay. So, again, just mystery, 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 and adding to the mystery. Watch awesome, eye opening, educational, thought provoking, controversial documentaries by subscribing, right? Because the narrator of this bash sounds like the guy from whoever made, or the bash guy that made the principal. And this guy is just so excited to show you some bash mystery, all connected to the light. Because in his other documentary, he showed how the earth, the marble, is the center of some bash. And oh, now he's gonna say, and the Sphinx showeth the way. Smashed. That's the Sphinx is what it's for. It's just being passed around, defiled, and just told, what it is to everyone, waiting for that moment where they say, well, actually, this is what it is. Oh, no, no, no. Actually, this is what it is. So, and who knew that they could have all this sort of magic to go along with it and say, wow, wow, who knew? And now we know. And now we could finally connect with our galactic family and this smashed. So anyway, going back to this bash, it's the same bash. Who knew swarm? Just like the what is spoken, because if you truly speak, I mean, just for a moment, contemplate a world where why would there be a need to speak? Okay, just exactly. Isn't that peace? Because there's no force against you or opposing you with this or that, or it's just wow. And you look around and everything is wow, wow, and then exactly. In a way, it's a fantasy, yes. However, now that you say, well, of course, now that the spoken word is now the thing, where was that jump from song or from just grunting to somehow being able to enamor, just make all these sounds and so amazing. And this and that and the other. Wow, it's so. Oh, who knew? Oh no, it couldn't be. It couldn't. The spoken sound could not be hijacked. No, no, it's just what it is. It's just sounds that you say, and you had to write down in school and make sure you had good penship. But now it's about keyship and how many words per second you can type or text. You can have sausage fat fingers now. It doesn't even matter. Or be the frailest little just nothing and be like, oh, amazing, I can swipe. And what is all this? But let's get to what he's saying.
Fun to learn about, but when you had to memorize all the endings in high school, I have to admit, it got old sometimes.
And also, this is an interesting thing that in Latin, it's important the endings of the word, which mean uh because there's no the and in Latin. So it's girl sees boy, but then it says which one sees what, which one, and it's according to the ending and this and that. So he's talking about that.
Times trying to put sentences together. This is all pretty cool.
And how the order of the words don't really matter because the endings of the words will tell you what it is, and he's comparing that to wow how like in English and all these other languages the structuring, the order of the words matters. So that's interesting. But who knew that that was a just it's wordsmithing? Wow, who knew? And it does create an image of that which you live in. It does negate it and suffer and die.
For a dead language. Is Latin really a dead language? What is a dead language? Well, there's a big difference between a dead language and an extinct language.
Okay, this is where he's gonna say what because all the before was just prepping you for this.
Extinct language is a language like Etruscan. Etruscan was
Oh, see, and he couldn't wait. Etruscan. This this uh, this Etruscan is it's found everywhere, even in the Americas. There's artifacts that have been found that have all of this right, but only the scholars, academics know it supposedly, or those who study and make this some sort of special field.
virtually lost for centuries and is only really familiar today to scholars. No one speaks it
Wow, nobody speaks it or knows. Who knows, and it's all burned, and we have copies of some originals that who knows what happened.
or uses it to communicate, and it doesn't really have any linguistic descendants.
So who knew that you would say, "Wow, no one knows, only scholars," and then they can tell you whatever they want. However, there's people that say that there are some there's a region in Eastern Europe or something that can read this stuff, and they're like, no, there's actual. I mean, what's going on? And actually, I mean, who knows? It could be just a rabbit hole, of course, but it ties to things in the Americas and a grand scheme of what that meant. And interesting to know that it's just on stone. Wow, who knew?
Dead language, however, is simply a language which has no native speakers and isn't used in daily life. A common
Wow. So it's just not used in daily life. Okay.
misconception is that a dead language is one that you can't speak anymore, and therefore Latin is only written. That's not true. People could verbally communicate with Latin if they wanted.
Oh, exactly. Exactly. So he's saying key points. Who knew? Who knew that there are Harry Potter languages out there? And Latin is one of them. The one that is the hidden one, but not hidden. And who knew that there was probably other hidden ones? So according to your shape-shifting light worship position, will dictate how you communicate. Who knew? Who knew? These people know.
The Pope, for example, does. Another misconception is that Latin is frozen in time and not changing.
So this person speaks who knows how many languages, and the Pope, wow, he speaks in tongue because he's possessed, not by the Holy Spirit, but that which defileth. And he commands the legions of the swarm. Who knew?
And this is why it's a dead language. This is also not true. Latin is and has kept up with the times. Take the words ordinatrum, which means computer, or telephonium portabile, cell phone.
So ordinatrum, okay. So it means computer today, but what did it mean then, right? Okay, you don't say, but yo, it's there. It's the same word, but we use it to this. So sounds. The main thing that is interesting to point out is the sounds of the words, because not all of them might have the same meaning, but the sounds.
Latin is all over the place indirectly, and directly it is still used by the Catholic Church, still used in science, still used by scholars, still used in law.
Oh, it couldn't wait. Exactly. It's still used, it's still used, still used, still used, still used. Who knew? It's because it's the cult of death. The worshippers of light, the worshippers of death. YOLO. This guy saying, YOLO, everyone. Okay, adjourned.
A language still in use, but it's not a language in regular daily use like English.
Yes, it is, you bash. You just said it's used in law, this, and that. Wow. So it is used daily, you bash. It's to maintain the status quo. That's the incantation that is the dictator. It's written in that. Wow, who knew? In that reverberation. Defying the true reverberation of life. Who knew? All because you're the cult of death, the believer of death. You worship death and your image in it. Relentlessly victimhood to the 33rd degree, just begging. Just begging. For what? Who knows? But as long as you get a piece of whatever you think is being dished out or should be dished out, smashed.
Or Russian or Japanese. It's kept alive because it's Latin, and it's important to the cultures whose ancestors once.
Because it's Latin. That's his reason. Why is it kept? Because it's Latin. What is Latin, huh? What is Rome? Who knows? It's just some bash place, right? Smashed. And what is all this? Oh, this is just letters, this and this and this and this. Smashed.
Used it. So yes, it is a dead language, but in more ways than one, it lives on. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you
in more ways than one, it lives on. Smashed. So bash. Now let's get into this bash. Because who knew? They smash it in your face, the red and the blue, always. And of course now this is a cash cow. Okay? Everybody knows that this is a cash cow. Because I have so many followers. Just begging for more. Just begging. Just begging. Relentless begging. Can't wait. Can't wait to beg for more. Can't wait. So what's for you, Johnny? Of course, the double V. Oh, triple V. Who knew? Couldn't wait. bash music. Of course, just the relentless this light, those rings of light are going around. So it's like this black hole, the abyss. So all these lights are going all around the stadium, and it's just creating this like vortex of lights. Yay! The light show. Who knew people worship light? It's actually bearable at this pace. And look at this. And what is this? Automaton reacheth for this. Of course, relentless fire. Yeah, yeah. That triple V on fire. Yes. Why don't they have it here singeing the crowd too? And singeing you while they're at it. Oh no, it's safer this way. Oh, I see. Comes up, he just throws it into with the first V. He threw his coat off relentlessly out into the first V. Alright, smash. Picks up some bash, and now he's gonna bash. Okay, next. Exactly, exactly. And that's what everybody is when it comes to their image. They're blasting themselves further by their own efforts, their blood, sweat, and tears. Yes, relentlessly. Yes, that's how things happen. Smashed. Oh, it's not even. It's not, okay. And the other thing is, this was at. Wow. Somehow the thumbs down went down. Earlier it was. Whatever. Bash. And at the same time, who giveth a bash? But it's all in what they're pushing. Who cares if you like it or don't? It doesn't matter. You're still watching it. And then you're gonna talk about it no matter what. So who knew? Smashed. Smashed by the What is that? Just he's just bashing so well. I said no. And why did you pick it up? I said no. No means no. Oh! But if the crowd says yes, running back into the first V. Yes, the flying V. You must relentlessly fly in a V. And this guy's like, yes, I'm just catwalking. I'm so good at the catwalk and at this lick. And somehow this bash shows up out of nowhere. The trumpets. Wow, who knew that they're just mocking? Just mocking with some cartoons. Wow, amazing. Oh, they couldn't wait. They could not wait. So is this all going in some giant screen in the stadium? Is this just blasting in relentless screens in the stadium? What is this? Some bash the phoenix, the green phoenix is just coming down and smashing. What is this? Oh, of course, the marble, and it's just coming down. Wow! Now it's blaze. It's fires. The fallen angels are coming. And what is this? They come straight for the stadium where the V is, and wow, it's coming in. Wow! Look, exactly the hologram, whatever effects. Because this is editing in in what you're seeing. Who knew that they aren't actually seeing this? Because if people were actually seeing this, they would probably be losing their minds. So it just blew up and smashed. So they're massaging you into all this, effects, all these effects. This is just bash. What is this? The flames. Okay, the phoenix. Horrible. But it's supposed to be. It's a ritual. Certain ritual's better than this one. Wow, smashed. So they're delaying it because he's swearing. Oh, wow. So he couldn't hold back. He just couldn't wait. I have to be real. I have to say it out there for real. Wow, he did it. Amazing. With his auto-tune, fantastic effects. Oh, he's such an artist. Look, he's wearing some plastic tool belt and amazing. It's so awesome. All the shape-shifting green lights. He came in a green meteorite. Oh, yes. Smart. Okay, look at him. He's wearing a tracksuit. And he looks straight up like some bash. But he's cool because he's all tatted up and he's so cool. And he sings so I don't who gives a bash, but oh, it's just so good. Oh, it's just so good. And what? He's just hopping around, hopping around, just trying to what imitate this guy. He's just because this guy's some. What is he? A scarecrow? What is going on? What is going on? What is he wearing? Of course. Oh, relentless bling, relentless bling. Oh, snap! Yeah, who knew I could just wear chains and chains of bling? Doesn't even matter. It looks like they even have lights in them. He just falls down. Oh, he falls down. What is this? Tool belt? His apron. The ritual. And everybody's just like, yay! They had the anarchy sign, that, and one said sin. What are they doing? Everybody's just waving their pumpkin. One love. Which love? The love of the world smashed. LA3. Because this bash is just everywhere. He has hands everywhere. He has placement now. Because of what he was willing to do. The purple light. Wow, who knew? Astral behave, immediately shirt comes off. California. Oh, he couldn't wait. The worship of the West in the flesh. Wow. Automaton. Worshippers of the image of themselves. Oh, what is this? Just exactly. Relative slot, fire, who gives a bash, and just fireworks. The M, the W, double V, triple V. Smashed. It sucketh. It sucketh the life. That's all it did and does. And now, who knew that after all that bash, people are just gonna tune into a movie? So, what is a movie? And apparently, this is the original. What's an original movie? Aren't all movies originals? Oh no, they're all based on books or this. There's nothing new under the sun. Smashed. So let's take a look.
Adaptations, remakes, sequels, prequels, and franchises. So now it's time to see what's new. Things born of and by the cinema. These are our picks for the 5 most original films of all time.
And people are like, I've seen all these movies. Oh, I'm so cultured. Smash. I'm such a nerd. Oh, smash. No. Who knew that all these, whatever, how many or however or whichever movies you've seen or whatever, movies are a language, an extension of how to reach inside of you through manipulation of imagery and wordsmithing. Who knew? Who knew? And it reaches inside of you. It's the invisible hand that defileth, because it shapeshifts your perception of life. Who knew? Because you are weak, because you think yourself void of life, and void of love, and void of truth, and void of anything that has to do with truth.
After we decide we're looking for stories made new just for the screen, the first question we're confronted with is what makes a film more original than another? And our first thought is that it might just be the most cinematically innovative film we can find. So, interpreting it that way, we started looking at...
Wow, who knew you could smash ways of categories of saying which ones? How do we even begin? Smashed. Exactly. Original. What is original these days? Nothing. These days. No days. It's life everlasting and nothing else. You can call it all the names under the sun, but what? It's still what it is. It doesn't matter what you think it is, it's still what it is. Wow, smashed. So just because you can create little models and little teeny tiny things that you can smash and study and look at and be about and manipulate, and all of a sudden, wow, we have the key to some bash. No, you don't. You have a key to some dust that can, wow, defile you and split you and show with you things that you're thinking, wow, I'm being shown new things. No, you're being shown bent ways, bent things. Things that spiral and go nowhere. Groundhog Day. There is no creating anything, only to live. That is the true promise, the purpose to see the truth. Wow, do you see? Or do you see this? Oh, such pretty colors. Oh. Smashed by the light. Instead of worshiping the creator, you worship the colors. Oh, the colors. Smashed.
At firsts, from the early efforts of Come Along Do and As Seen Through a Telescope and The Jazz Singer, to the edgy adolescent years of Battleship Potemkin and Breathless, to the recent technological maturity of Star Wars and Toy Story and Gravity. These films introduced us to never-before-seen cinematic techniques, like a painter using a new color for the first time.
Wow,
However, if
it's
innovation
new
is
tech,
our
not
benchmark
just
for the
imagery
most-
techniques, but also it's ways to bash you. Who knew? Who knew that the ways to bash you is to get you by the images you see, and therefore what you will behave, what you ritualize and behave in. Who knew? Who knew?
most original film would be, of course, the original film, which just so happens to...
Oh, Roundhay Garden scene, 1888. Wow, who knew that in that time there was a lot going on that no one really knows. It's all, oh, it's a mystery. It'll all led up to World War One, and then we think we know it all. Wow, smashed. What was going on? And there's this scene.
to be the Roundhay Garden scene. And that's it. That's the whole scene, captured at a mind-boggling 12...
No, there's more to this. This is what you're told is all there is. But what is this? It's a ritual of some sort, or capturing somebody walking down. And what is who are they?
frames per second for just under 3 seconds in Leeds, England. This right here was cinema
The image is shapeshifting. What's going on?
crowning from Louis Le Prince's technological womb in October 1888. Of course, when you look into any evolution, there is seldom a clear Adam and Eve to point at. 10 years prior, Edward Muybridge shot this,
Wow. Okay, he shot this.
but it took 12 cameras arranged in a line shooting onto glass plates, copied onto a rotating disc he called a zoopraxiscope, as opposed to Le Prince's single device onto film strips, which were
Right. Who knew that it was a relentless thing to promote, to manufacture? The image maker. The image maker. The image propagator. Because whoever controlleth the notion of the image, wow, who knew manipulates and defiles your life? Who knew? Because then you see yourself in that image, through that image, relentlessly. And that's why there's movies and it's theater. The purpose of theater is to indoctrinate you with the obvious, the bash superficial interaction and the superficial whatever bash, and then the underlying undertones. It's always there's nothing accidental in a scene. Everything is placed there for a reason, and this and that and this, and they're crafted according to what the ultimate message of bash is. Wow, who knew? The image. So it's showing you an image, just like false memories, and how in Blade Runner, the bots are think of themselves as real because they have implanted memories, just images and audio clips, just bashing into them and saying, "Oh, I have this memory of my mother and this and this." Wow, exactly. All image manipulation that defileth the life you live. And of course, in that movie, they're talking about robots, but no, it's the status quo of man under his own spell of doubt, relentlessly creating multiples of fractured images of himself, saying, "Yes, this is me." Smashed.
Shown via projection that far more resembles what we call cinema. It doesn't quite have the production value of the latest Avengers, but this right here, what you're watching, is a window into the world 150 years ago, when the world's first...
Exactly 150 years ago, when something major was going on. And who knew that there was cameras there that could do this? So just because there's this little piece doesn't mean that there weren't relentless others.
movie camera cranked to life and began this whole art form we love so much. Of course, picking
Smashed.
the earliest relic we can find doesn't exactly answer the question we set out to answer in a way that does justice to that special feeling of originality we feel when we watch a Charlie Kaufman film. And it certainly doesn't...
So you can see all, even in the images that they're showing you right now, there's all sorts of just bashwood being pushed.
populate your watch lists with cinema's most interesting offerings. So maybe the most original has less to do with innovation and more to do with uniqueness, telling a story so unlike what anyone else has ever done or is doing or maybe even ever will. And if we look here, we start to find films that immediately smack of a sense of originality. The surrealist desert fantasy of the Holy Mountain, the Hollywood identity nightmare of Mulholland Drive, and the upper crust absurdism of the discreet charm of the bourgeoisie. The anthropomorphized sociopathic tire of Rubber, the black void invasion of Under the Skin, the bizarre Japanese I don't even know what that is of Funky Forest, and of course, the existential fever dream of Synecdoche, New York. They tell tales the likes of which we've never even dreamed. But the one film we think outdoes our dreams most has to go to Holy Motors.
A 2012 film. Guy comes out of the sewers, green suit, with a crowbar, smoking already.
It is difficult to find words with which to
Eating
describe
bash.
Holy Motors that capture all of its madness without reducing it.
So exactly, they're telling you it's after so many years underground. He's finally unleashed, and it's who knew? Who knew it was the fiery presence?
process. It's about an actor, in a sense, keeping appointments to play roles, but there is no camera except for our own. Some of the roles are funny, some of them are sad, many of them suggest a sense of growing old. The actor plays a rich businessman, and a beggar woman, and an impulsive sewer troll, and half a dozen other roles. Sometimes he is hurt,
Shapeshifter.
experiences tragedy, but other times there seems to be no sense or consequence at all. And yet, put together...
Exactly, it's about nothing. Who knew? But it's telling you
comes
something.
together to form an entirely unexpected
Wow, they couldn't wait. They couldn't wait to just bash you. The relentless nines and sixes, nine, and the one is feeding off the flesh. What's going on?
experience that is nevertheless delightful. Hailed by some as reinvigorating cinema and decried by others for wasting our time, Holy Motors is an energetic ode to the magic of filmmaking and pretending and being, and truly unlike anything else we've ever seen.
Truly, like anything. Not we haven't seen this before. Smashed. There's nothing new under the sun. Only rehashed smash hits and just repulverization and smoking of the same thing. All saying, "Oh, this feels so nice. It feels so different." Smashed. Number 3. Pound
Now,
3.
if you subscribe to the there's only 39 or 7 or 3 or 1 stories and we're just constantly retelling them theory, which we
Yep.
don't because it's semantic nonsense, but
Oh, it's semantic nonsense. Yeah, who knew you could split the light and say it's just different bash light? No, it's the same. What are you saying? Smashed.
if you do, maybe most original comes from how that story is told, not just what it is. So in terms of familiar
How the story is told. Yeah, how attached do I how invested do I become in it? How does it captivate me? How much do I believe it? How real does it look? Smashed.
stories that are uniquely told, we start to think of films like Dogville that does it without sets, or Memento that tells it backwards and forwards, and of films like Jerry that tells it without words, Mr. Nobody that does it in split timelines, or The Lobster and Playtime, and Songs from the Second Floor that do it with delightfully unique tones, of Birdman and Russian Ark that tell it in a painterly stroke of a single camera move, or of the Imaginarium of Dr. Parnassus with the fantastic trick camera work of a grown-up Georges Méliès. However, if there's a film that tells its story in a way we've never seen before, our money's on one of Gaspar Noé's. Could have been Love, could have been Irreversible, but not when it's gotta be our favorite.
So of course, in order to cover all his ass, he's just saying all of the movies, just relentless movies. But then there's the last one he mentions. So this guy's Bosch.
Favorite of his, Enter the Void.
You don't leave, I'll shoot! What do you want me to do?
Who knew? And this is a shocking movie. All kind of like first person this, and then it goes out of his body, he dies, and it floats out. Well, who knew? But what is this? It's all about how he's a drug addict and he's not, and just regret and this and the other, and then he can just float around. All while his body's just there, smashed, dead. But who knew that they're telling you something? Who knew?
The story of Enter the Void is almost too simple. A young American drug dealer in Tokyo is shot by police, and he has a vision of his entire life before and after his death. But take that simple story and then reshuffle it into a fascinatingly complex series of flashbacks and flash-forwards that meld seamlessly into one another with a third-person omniscient camera that wanders through space and time in neon-flashing hallucinatory mindscapes like the disembodied spirit of the protagonist unstuck from the normal strictures of human experience in a pre-death fever dream, and you wind up with a whole lot more than just a simple story. And the light and sound and visual effects and camera work with which
Exactly, all this. This, yeah. He couldn't wait to mention this movie because it truly is a masterpiece when it comes to just smashing with light worship. Worshipping of the image that you're given.
renders this experience are utterly fresh. His lens moves with a virtuoso freeness that is nonetheless painstakingly designed. And for all his hard work, he has created a new vision of the cinematic experience as simultaneously psychological, personal, and visual.
And the guy can't wait just saying all these adjectives and saying, oh, it's just, yes, adjective, adverb, adjective. Who gives a bash? Just words of worship to this, oh, how great it is.
A way we have never before quite experienced.
Oh, pound two.
So, uniqueness is feeling pretty good as a way to pick original films, but there's one
The
more
fountain.
criteria worth exploring, and that's medium specific. Medium specificity is a fancy schmancy art criticism term based on the theory that each individual artistic medium, from sculpture to painting to cinema, has its own unique properties and features, and that an artwork's medium is more specific if it is working in a piece in a way that only it can. So a sculpture can be more sculptural, a painting can be more painterly, and a film can be more cinematic, as opposed to literary or theatrical or photographic if it makes the most use of its medium's unique features. This would be unadaptable cinema, a story that is inextricably linked with the way it's told, a movie that couldn't be novelized or painted without losing some or most or all of its je ne sais quoi. So what is cinema's special sauce? Is it capturing reality as it is, or
Exactly. So the exact placement couldn't be recreated because it was just that good.
does that belong to photography? Is it movement, or is that shared with dance? Is it the cut or the juxtaposition also found in
Expectations, reality, just smashed.
diptychs and collage? Is it perhaps just how it organizes experience in time, or is that too much like music? We're not quite sure what the answer is, but we know that whatever it may be, we catch glimpses of it in medium-specific films like Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind, Being John Malkovich, The Tree of Life, The Act of Killing, Paprika, The Mirror, 8.5, The Diving Bell and the Butterfly, Waking Life, and for our
Oh, they couldn't
favorite
wait to just name just relentless names.
The Five Obstructions.
And then finally, number two, according to this Bosch, The Five Obstructions, 2003. What's he saying? Bosch.
The Five Obstructions is a film about film, a documentary about narrative, a behind-the-scenes feature about a relationship as much as the filmmaker. Lars von Trier of Dogville, Antichrist, Nymphomaniac fame pulls his mentor out of retirement and gives him a series of 5 challenges with which to remake a short film of his, each one more difficult and purposefully confounding than the last. But the result is something very special. A love letter to cinema. It is a film by and of film, capturing the constructive...
So filmmakers making films and being, okay, let's challenge ourselves and do it. Smashed.
The candid, showing us both the heavily mediated work of Leth with the incidental documentary of von Trier. It ties its subject to its method, examining itself as it examines the work of both men, using the medium of film to look at the medium of film and the men who make it, examining it through the lens of the technical...
Of course, just cooking up ways to just keep smashing and looking at... Because everybody hates actual life. They're all trying to escape it somehow with thrills and this and this and this. Because life is certainly not your ritual, your behavior, your Groundhog Day. Meaning your work, this, everything that you say that you think your life is. No, that you're abusing the life that way. And that's why you hate it. And that's why you escape it in all these bash ways. And who knew that if somebody could capture bash ways that, wow, they're just so amazing. It's worth something because you can sell it. You can hoard out.
ethical and the personal and
Because there's nobody saying there, wow, it's so artsy just to bash images and just blast them. Ultimately, it's to evoke it's to evoke something. It's just like evocation. When you call out certain words and specific patterns, you're evoking something. Who knew? You present images that evoke a certain thing, and then you see it. And who knew that you leave that movie seeing life now somehow a little spun. And who knew that movies that do it better than others are rewarded? But even the ones that don't, they're awarded somehow in the sense of funding. This, good job. Now it's some art piece that people that are think that artists are gonna identify because it's not the blockbuster, but it's so underground and so indie. Smashed.
authorial to a truly original effect. Of course, perhaps narrative is
It's like those bash people that say, research is fair. No. Only funding goes to certain research. So, the same for film. Who knew that, everybody thinks that film is just some regular ass person grabbing a camera and learning and then making a movie. Smashed. Not everyone that can so called get cameras and film uh ever gets the opportunity to share it, to screen it, to this or the other. Fine, you can make DVDs and sell your movie, but good luck. The only images that are pushed is if they have some worth, if they're worth the shift shaping that they're able to cook up. Who knew?
Is the wrong place to look. Maybe storytelling itself is uniquely literary, sharing too much with other media. Maybe the fact that most films are telling stories means that the most unique film doesn't tell a story at all. So finally, we turn
Bash.
to the avant-garde and the experimental. Films and filmmakers that have been pushing the medium well beyond the cohesive limits we find in the multiverse.
The rabbit.
Beginning with the cinematographical
Swelling
experimentation
head.
of entre
Who knew?
acts, anemic cinema, ballet mécanique, and man with a movie camera. Continuing forwards into Un Chien Andalou,
Right,
meshes
filming
of
the
the
camera
Andalou,
walking.
onwards into the
Who knew?
truly bizarre of the strobe films, of color fields, and of empty still rooms.
And people call this,
Finally,
well,
edging
the
into
evolution of film. Smash. No.
successful mainstream with the Katsi and Kronos trilogies. The avant-garde spans centuries and the globe, and every which way possible you could stretch the medium we call cinema. However, for our top slot, we think one of the most interesting and original works of the avant-garde is Stan Brackage's Dog Star Man.
Dog Star Man. Right.
Stan Brakhage is an avant-garde cinema god. He's done everything from hand-scratch his film frames to plaster them with moth bits, stretching the medium of film as celluloid miles beyond anything you've probably seen anywhere else.
Who knew it's like people that plug in, relentless pedals and then call it music. Oh, it's noise music, yay. And I just pulse the pulses, and the static. Wow, smashed.
And Dog Star Man is generally regarded as his masterpiece. It combines dreamlike visuals that make Enter the Void look like a sitcom, with recurring imagery, with
The
a
skull.
gentle semi-narrative with the author himself. For the first 30 minutes, the prelude is pretty much just this, a constructed dream, or the creation of the universe, vaguely predictive of Malik's Tree of Life. After which we move into the narrative, the story of Brackage trying to climb a mountain with his dog.
Oh, they couldn't wait. So some idea of evolution. Bash.
There is a linear sense to the story if you look for it. The filmmaking shreds reality into a million pieces, mining cinema for hundreds of techniques
Exactly. Just mashing it into a billion pieces.
you could hardly imagine. It is impossible to begin to list all the different ways he uses editing and camera work and chemical post-processing and found footage and in-camera effects, each one fascinating on their
It looks
own, but
so
utterly
stupid.
alchemical in combination. It may slot in with Roundhay Garden scene as one of the less enjoyably watchable of the bunch, but it is impossible to see Dog Star Man and call it anything but deeply original, which is why it's our pick for one of the most original films
Deeply
of
original.
all time. So what do you
Deeply manipulative. Just mashing a bunch of imagery with this with a general sense of, yes, I'm evoking this. Okay. Cut and paste. Oh, it's so original. What is it saying? It's all about the message, okay? The medium is bash. Oh, the medium is the message and all it's bash, 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 bash. Exactly. You can look like this and say exactly the same as this bash, but there's a different effect. Just like watching some image and having some music behind it that will have the effect of what you see. Who knew? So exactly. Get unbent because you're bent. You got bent and you're getting bent. Smashed.